people say, yes, we should, some people say we shouldn't, because it distorts everything. That's a borrowing, so it doesn't really affect the actual capital for FY20. That's sort of where our current plan has it, so we wanted to align this with the current plan, but once we know a little bit more information, we may be able to refine this a little more detail relatively soon, I think. So then the same thing goes with the $400,000 for the school, and, as a borrowing. And the question was, would you make that a $40,000 borrowing, or take $40,000 out of capital? It's a very rich conversation. It's very informative to me to hear different perspectives. So.
And then, just to complicate things, let me throw in fire. And maybe this is just my not completely understanding the sequencing. I know obviously that the desired place for fire is where DPW is. Do we borrow for schematic designs? Do we have to borrow for schematic designs? And is there any logic to doing both a fire and a DPW schematic design, given that we would have locations for both, basically going on at the same time, probably separate committees, but going on at the same time? And the reason I'm thinking of those and the importance of that is, first of all, it would help inform the feasibility studies that we already have, which are much more expensive than I think we realize we can spend. And it would help us figure out, can we build a staged DPW? Can we do a fire station that is, $5 million, $10 million less than what we, so the sooner we can get those answers through feasibility, which also has to include, for those two projects, the zero energy, because we didn't have that at the time we were doing the initial feasibilities. So schematic design has to do that. So it's, in many ways, all of that is very informative for the council and the community to be able to say, this is what we can afford and this is what we can't afford. So I'm more eager to kind of put it all out there.
Alex?
So again, I think I always come back to these sort of process questions. So in past years, we would get a budget, right? And the idea would be not to deal in esoteric bonding and grants. It was, here's money in hand, here's money to go out. And so I guess I worry, it's easy for us to say, could you just throw another 40 grand in and, maybe we'll borrow on it? And I think that's a slippery slope that concerns me. So I think for me, as a committee, I would prefer, like, if we want to put 40,000 in there, then we need to take it from somewhere else. We shouldn't say, let's borrow more, and that's just me trying to sort of toe the line, because we do have a lot of things out ahead of us, and I think it sets a dangerous precedent. So, last year, and not to pick on the roads, last week, 20,000 is not going to make or break Paul's $1 million in roads. So, do we just take the 20 grand, 40 if we have to, and just put it in this and call it a day? I guess I just like a more concrete solution than that, because it shows perhaps the MSBA that we are committed to moving forward, to moving quickly with it. It shows the town people that we are committed to moving quickly, to moving forward with it, versus just throwing it back on Paul to maybe borrow if it makes sense.
Yeah. So, how certain are we on the $400,000 figure?
So I believe that's based on our share of $1 million. It's the same way it was structured last time. The Wildwood project, the overall cost budget was $1 million. Our share was roughly 40%-ish, and so that's where we came in. We came in under that budget by, I can't remember the exact amount.
By around $40,000.
I can't remember that.
The reason I'm saying this is that the $400,000 figure is a placeholder anyway, and so I understand the point, but I would take it as more of an iron law if we were saying, let's give Dave Zomack his truck. And you know what I mean, we're gonna say, let's get a $60,000 conservation truck in here, boy, we really need it. And then we can't just start, Christmas tree or candy storing items and just throwing them in. In this case, the argument that's being made about the Crocker farm study is that it's actually integral with the feasibility study, and the question is about the sequencing. I would actually rather just either put in $400,000 and then just provide, I hate to put this thing, but direction to the school district to say, when we get accepted this December, we're telling you this seems really promising. If it accelerates our work, let's try to move it forward. And so maybe one of the first things that comes out of that $400,000 is some small piece of analysis of Crocker Farm School. Or alternately, if you think the actual number really is going to be closer to $420,000 in the end, then we should actually change the number from 400 to 420, because that's actually what the feasibility number is going to be. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I think it's a budget at this point. Looking out, there's a lot of things I looked at in feasibility studies, so the 400,000 is just an estimate. If we added Crocker Farm as part of the feasibility study, would it increase it by 40,000? I don't know if it would, if it was in the original scope of what we're asking them to look at. Again, given we had variance last time, our budget versus actual. So I think what I heard you say is just include the Crocker Farm as sort of part of that borrowing for the feasibility study.
Particularly if you're 20,000, if you said you had 20,000, I hate these easiest words because they're bad words. But you said you had 20,000 extra kicking around right now?
Right.
And then it's possible this could come in for 20,000. Anyways.
So here's my thought of where we might go, because we do need to get this moving along. We're talking about line 208, and maybe it's worth breaking it into two lines, so that we put in an amount, move it to FY20, but shaded so that it's based upon borrowing. And we note in our recommendation that this is an amount that is not, that would be subject to future council action to authorize the borrowing, so that nothing is really happening with it other than putting it on the spreadsheet. And that we separately put a sum of money into a separate line, which we could call preliminary feasibility work or something like that. And whether it be $20,000 or $40,000, but just put it in as a separate amount and make that recommendation to the manager, and then he has to decide whether he wants to include it in the budget, and also, as I noted earlier, will ultimately decide whether it's appropriate, as he does for any line, whether it's appropriate to spend it based upon the circumstances when spending decisions actually have to be made. But at least we put it in a place where some money is available, is what we're suggesting in this next year. That is not subject to the borrowing. Yes.
I just want a clarification on the last 2 points. So the extra sum of money for the citizens request is what I'm hearing, that we wait till December when we found out if we got the MSBA to spend that, or would we spend it on July 1st to start moving forward with that study?
I think that's a decision that's ultimately the town managers to make.
Because again, if we wait until December, then that sort of, in some ways, defeats the purpose of the time-saving piece of it, right? If you wait to get into the feasibility study, then it wouldn't really make sense at that point to go ahead and do it. Because where we know if we were to include as part of the MSBA process, I think the saving piece is to start right away with it ahead of that. And again, that's what I heard, so I just wanted to make sure.
There's a lot that we don't know about what would be the true cost of doing this, what would be the parameters of the feasibility study that would be done. These are things that would have to be worked out with you and Mike and all of his staff, and that he would make a decision that would be appropriate, but at least placeholder in there and put a sum of money in so that it can be done, if it seems wise to be done to move forward with, making those decisions.
I was just gonna say, I think that this is where we need to rely on our school committee and our superintendent, that it seems like we want some money ready to spend, and we're not the experts on when the best time to do that is. If it is July, August, and because it'll save us 6 months of a feasibility when we get in the program in December, that makes total sense, you know, but if it wouldn't save us that time, then, but we're not, I'm not the expert on when the best time to do that is.
Right, and I want to move this along because I'm keeping an eye on the clock, and I know the places to go.
I wanted to bring up the North Amherst Library